information that you should see. There we go. Now I'm seeing it. I'm not sure what this is all about. So this code is REGD Fall 2025. This code is going to go. I want you guys to take this code down. This code is actually goes to a free tool that I'm going to be giving you guys. I've generated a more specific, in-depth uh, course. I do have a course that's out there that does cost, but with this code, it does not cost you anything, guys. So that's why I want to say I want to make sure that you get this code. Make sure you take the code. Now, if you don't use the code and you get the course, that means that you're paying for the course. Now, I don't mind that at all, but at the same time, I want to make sure that you guys are getting some value for just tuning in tonight for the Real Estate Gold Digger Fall Challenge. So just because you guys did tune in, you're going to get this code REG FALL 2025. This code is going to get you free access to this course. So for everyone who has registered, you're going to get this code again, and then I'm also going to send you a link to the course. So this is for those who have registered. So if you have not registered, just direct message me. Just send a message back and say, hey, I didn't register for whatever reason. I'm not sure how you're able to watch this without registering. Someone may have shared this information, but I want to make sure that you have this information. You can have it on your own. You have free access to it with this particular code. So keep that in mind, guys. Um, let's rock. I like this. I'm loving this. I am truly loving this. So something that I share with a lot of people as they get into real estate investing is I think it's key that you should have a particular mindset. And what I mean by having a particular mindset is understanding that you deserve a better life. You deserve happiness. You deserve more. And a lot of times when I'm speaking to people and they get into this world, they don't think that investing in real estate is actually for them or even an opportunity that they foresee themselves being involved in. At the end of the day, a lot of times what are we making money for? We're one to better ourselves, self improvement, uh, helping build or make money for our family, helping build generational wealth for our family, building a legacy. These are some of the whys, being able to invest and have those chunks of income for, you know, the kids going to school, kids going to college, um, having a better life for your family or whatever it may be. Your why is your why. So one of the things I always tell people is to focus on what your why is. Because as you focus on what your why is, you're going to have a better idea of why you're getting involved, why you're really wanting to ride this roller coaster. And I say it's a roller coaster because sometimes it's up and down in the real estate market. And with this roller coaster, you have to know how to invest during those times. So with that being said, as you're investing in the world of real estate, make sure that you have a better idea for what's going on. So I encourage everyone to have their whys in line. Typically, as a first homework assignment, I always ask people to really think about that. So I really want you guys to think about that. I'll have some updates regarding that as we're moving forward. So keep that in mind. But knowing what your why is going to be key. So, 9 habits of highly successful people. I share this because they're good habits to have. They're very good habits, and it's all about creating that mindset. Like I said, you deserve more, you deserve to be successful, and you have to believe it. It's not just saying it, but also believing it. And these are some habits that have been identified of highly successful people, and I want to share that with you guys. So some of the habits that we see here is they get up early. A lot of times, people sleep in. They sleep in till like noon, late morning, 11 o'clock, noon. Getting up early is a successful habit. There's a lot of rhyme and reason behind that. You're able to get a lot of things done before the rest of the world wakes up. They read a lot. Being able to read a lot, knowledge, you find a lot of knowledge that's in books. And the way that technology is nowadays, you should be able to read a lot more than probably what you think you can. There's tools such as Audible, there's tools, podcasts. being able to take, a lot of people who are creating books, what they're doing is taking these books and placing them on some type of verbal um, communication where they're able to communicate with individuals verbally. Because a lot of times we're in our vehicles, especially the way that traffic is. A lot of people that are still driving to work or taking long road trips, that's what they're listening to. A lot of times people don't even listen to music. I have a particular restriction in my world where I don't listen to music in the mornings. A lot of times I'm going to like the gym. When I go to the gym, I'm listening to motivational items as I'm driving to the gym. Now, when I get into the gym, I gotta have my music. So I have to have my music. So, and then those are things to think of. Think of opportunities to be able to self-improve. A third one is they spend 15 to 30 minutes each day on focused thinking. A lot of times we need that. Sometimes we're just going with the flow. When you're just going with the flow, you need to really strategize, moving with purpose, making moves with a purpose. They make exercise a priority. Like I said, I make exercise a priority for me a lot of times. I'm up early in the morning, but I also have a weird schedule where I'm actually a night hawk as well. And I call it a night hawk because there's probably 3 or 4 nights out of the week where I'm up uh, overnight, or I stay up very late, working on different things. Just because sometimes you got to sacrifice. I don't see that being the foregoing schedule, but sometimes you got to sacrifice and make things happen. So, but understanding the priority exercise, it helps mentally, physically, with your mental health, your physical health, and I'm a big mental health advocate. So. It's very important to me to make sure that I exercise because I know the impact that it has on me. Being able to exercise, being able to have that one-on-one time at the gym, being able to have that focus and then tuning everything out. Got to have that time. They spend time with people that inspire them. So spending time with other individuals that have done maybe something greater than you or something that you may be trying to achieve. Spend time with those individuals. A lot of times that's where community is created. Spending time with other individuals that may be doing something similar to what you're doing. And that's a part of Real Estate Gold Diggers is creating a community where individuals can come together. As they are coming together, they are doing different investment things together, whether it's the same deal or they're just sharing insight. A lot of times that goes, and at least in my world, for me, it goes a super long way for me. And I mean a super long way. So keep that in mind that it does go a long way when you are sharing that type of insight and that type of information. So keep that in mind. Creating community, that's what I want to call that, creating community. They pursue their own goals. So a lot of times you hear people talking about something that they want to do, but the one thing that they're missing is they have to realize they have to take action. You can dream about it, write it down. Now, writing it down is a step, but what are you doing next? Are you starting to take action? Sometimes a lot of people, and I fall into a victim of this at times, is where I want to know each step about being perfect. But a lot of times you realize that, hey, it's about taking action. You may write down steps as you're going along, but don't wait till you have everything perfect before you move forward. Pursue your goals, start taking action. And a lot of times they say start taking massive action because the more massive action that you're taking, you can take what steps that you've done and then come back and recalibrate. Like I said, focused thinking. That 15 to 30 minutes that you take each day, that these successful individuals do, they're thinking about the steps that they did, say, for that day, whether it be in the morning time or the evening time. They may do that twice a day. In the morning, just understanding what you have to accomplish that day, and or in the evening to look back on what you have taken steps towards that day. So keep that in mind. Another one, they get enough sleep. So I think this is it's good and bad because sometimes when you're really going through the trenches, at least for me, when I'm really going through the trenches, I'm not getting enough sleep. And I know I'm not getting enough sleep. Even my eating habits get off a little bit just because I may be, um, if I'm up super late and I'm starving and I start getting anxiety kicks in, and you start wanting to eat that late night food. Everybody starts to thrive for that. So it's one of those things where it's like sleep is important. It definitely is, because that's an opportunity for your body to regrow. It goes through a lot. Burns a lot of energy throughout the day, burns a lot of cells throughout the day, but then your body needs an opportunity to replenish. So when it says get enough sleep, make sure that that sleep is placed into your schedule where you're making it a situation. Now, obviously, like I said, when you're in the trenches, sometimes it's a situation where it's like, hey, I may be up super late tonight and I may not get enough sleep tonight or the next night. But understanding that, taking a moment to actually recuperate, that is very important. So, right. They have multiple incomes. So as you're getting through this, like I said, if you listen to what I said, my particular background is I've done different things in real estate. Doing a course like this and sharing this information gives me an opportunity to share my different skill sets with other individuals and being able to help move forward. There's pockets within pockets as you're listening to different people within your community, seeing how they're making income, seeing how they're getting to their next step, seeing what they're doing to be able to make things successful. So having multiple streams of income, but a lot of times it's within the same path. So keep that in mind. That's always something I always tell people to, keep in mind as you're moving forward. See, make sure it's not taking your focus away from your main objective and your main goals and your main why. Keep that in mind, your main why. Avoid time wasters. You're going to run into other individuals that are wanting to invite you to events. They're going to be wanting to, showcase you, whatever it may be. You're going to come into this a lot, especially when you're starting to tune into your own why, tuning into your particular journey, as in what you're doing, what you're really focusing on. It is key that you uh, continue to move with a purpose. And like I said, a lot of successful people have discovered that and they realize that. And this is what's making them successful because they're able to get that fine tuned. So keep that in mind, guys. So other than that, let's go right ahead. We'll keep moving forward as I get this together. Let's do this. Building the contractor team. So I've had a lot of people ask me about this. So building a contractor team, and this is going to be one of those topics where I'm going to give you that 30,000 foot perspective. But with the tools, because you register, you are going to be able to take the 30,000 foot perspective. Use the tool plus the code, the free code. Now, if you want to pay, you can pay, but I did give you guys a code and I will email out the code to you if you did not write it down. We'll talk about it again. It's the fall, REG Fall 2025. I had to look over here for a little moment. Didn't need to cheat. So make sure that you guys get the code because when you use the code to the more specific subjects that are being discussed, you'll be able to go back and be able to get more detail. Because, like I said, I'm giving you the 30-foot perspective, and some of it may go over your head a little bit. And I'm trying not to go over your head because I'm trying to make it very simplistic for you. With that being said, uh, it gives you a better opportunity. So, with that being said, remember the code. We're going to get you through. Like I said, it's a course that you can pay for. I don't mind you paying for it, but you guys are getting it for free. So, with building the contractor team, I want you guys to realize that when you're dealing with contractors, not all contractors are the same. Not all contractors are adult acting. And not all contractors are professionals. I deal with a lot of different contractors, and it becomes a challenge for me because a lot of people's like, hey, you figured it out. Do you have a person to recommend? And it's like, I know they do great work, but I also know a lot of their faults. One, they may be a little rough around the edges, but it's not typical. Or I know that they need to be managed. They do great work, but they need to be managed. Or I know they do great work, but you need to set up a schedule with them. So these are some of the topics that I'll probably give you. Like I said, we're going to do the 30,000 foot perspective this evening of dealing with contractors and building your contractor team. But with the free tool that I'll be providing you guys through your email, you'll be able to go and get more specific information on the importance of building a contractor team, how to interview a contractor, and how to develop that team. So always keep that in mind as you are going through this. A lot of people, I know some of it is time consuming, trust me, because I get you guys telling me all the time. I understand that this can be a bit time consuming, but the tools that I'm providing you with, not only is it going to save you a headache, it's going to save you thousands of dollars. And even with some of the things that we're discussing today, I'm going to show you that if one of I won't say an individual within the investment community that I'm in, they did a deal and they cut a few corners. And I say a few, I mean it's probably like 4 or 5 different corners that pers- aspects that they ignored on a deal, and they found themselves in a situation. And that situation is 100,000 plus situation. And I'll call it a situation because it's not necessarily a failure, because it's a lot of lessons to be learned, but then it's also some type of recovery. It may not be the end goal that they anticipated, but we'll go through that. So with the contractor, one thing I always tell people, as you're building a team, you want 3 contractors for each trade when you are rehabbing a home. So keep that in mind. 3 contractors. And reason being is because there's going to be times when contractors are busy. There's going to be times when contractors are not available. They're going to be maybe too comfortable in their pricing. They may have tried to increase their pricing because they may think they're the only one that you may have. It keeps them honest when you have more than one. And then a lot of times when you're getting bids and offers for properties, you want to make sure that you have the best helping out. So keep that in mind. So do that there. So with that being said, when you have the best in mind and you're looking at 3 contractors for each perspective, for each trade, what I tell people to do is when you're interviewing them, you want to get these items from them. One, you want to make sure that they're licensed and insured. Just trust me. If you when you guys review the tool that I sent to you guys, I'll have a couple of personal stories that I'll share with you that because they were licensed and insured, we were able to get past some situations or get over a couple of situations that would have been very costly. But because of that, we got it taken care of. Two, you always want to look at references. Know a lot of contractors when you ask them, it's like, hey, I want to see, what type of work do you do? And they're going to send you maybe some pictures, which is good. It gives you a better idea of, how they perform, what they've done. Um, with that being said, don't fall for the Instagram contractor. It is just like, what they call a catfish. Don't get catfished by a contractor. By getting catfished by a contractor, you have situations where people will send you pictures of work that's not theirs. So the next thing when you're doing those references, you want to make sure that the type of work that they did for someone else. But another key thing is visiting these individuals on their job site. This is so key and it goes a super long way. It tells you a lot. Not only does it tell you a lot, but it also tells them a lot about you. Because one, it means that they have to be a little bit more upfront about what the type of work that they do. But then it also gives you an opportunity to understand the type of work that they do and how they care about their work. And this is what I mean. And I'll share this story with you because, like I said, this course is really built around getting through the obstacles and dealing with the conversations that come with contractors. So make sure that if anything that you guys are going back to the tool that I'll be sending you guys with the code, that you guys take that information and have a clear understanding. So when you're dealing with contractors and you're going to their job site, it's going to tell you, like I said, a number of things. One, when you're going to a job site that they're currently on, because you want to see if they're busy right now, if they're currently working, or if they're not working, why aren't they working, or if you come back to them a few weeks later and they still don't have a job, why aren't they working? So with that being said, when you go to a job site, it tells you this. One, these are the things you want to observe. One, you want to see if it's just them or if they have a team. It's give and take, depending upon the trade. You don't really need to have a team. Maybe you and someone else, especially if you're doing flooring, it may be you and someone else, maybe two individuals. So it may just be that one individual when they're just doing flooring. Like I said, that's a single um, trade versus, getting like a general contractor and he has all these trades up under him. That's helpful. It helps you move forward, but you also have to know how to deal with a GC. But see how the site looks. Is it junky? Is it trashy? Do you see a bunch of beer bottles? Do you see a bunch of cigarettes on the ground? These are things that will tell you how this individual works at their job site. Then it also tells you that, hey, are they cleaning up? That's a key thing. What I tell my contractors is I ask that they clean up each night after their job for that day or whatever, that they clean up after themselves. Because one, for me, in my mind as an investor, I'm having other potential investors that are maybe looking to invest down the road. I'm having my mentees come and visit the site as well because these are different people that may not only be interested in working with me directly, but then it's also they may be looking for contractors as well. So it's kind of like a win-win. Hey, I'm going to be bringing people by the property. I need to make sure the property looks good after each day. Now, if it's during the day and you're working, I'm not asking for it to be super clean, but if it's a day where there's no one, when you're not at the site, I need to make sure that it's cleaned up. Then also, if there's another contractor coming in, I don't want them tracking through your trash, basically, to be able to do their job. I don't want anybody pointing fingers. So this is one of those situations where you're dealing with adult acting uh, contractors. You're dealing with responsible contractors and dealing with someone that understands the process a little bit. Having that communication and that relationship with that contractor can be very key for you. And what I mean by it being key, because sometimes when you're getting draws from, and when I say draws, I mean like you're getting stipends of money from a lender to be able to help you pay for jobs that are completed. If they're doing their job correctly and you're timing it, this information will also be in that free tool that you're getting, making sure that you're timing it in such a way that when they complete their work, that their work is going to be inspected at the end of the week and that they'll get paid at the end of the week. Now, if it doesn't pass inspection, then they don't get paid. So it's having that understanding with that contractor, and if they have that understanding, they're going to make sure they get everything done correctly. They're going to be, hey, we get this done today, we do it correctly, it's going to get inspected the next day or the following day. We get that done, past that, we're going to get paid. And we need to make sure everything is done correctly so that we do get paid. And if we don't meet that deadline, that means that that individual that does the inspection may not come until the next week. So that's where things in communication has to be key in dealing with individuals that are professional and that do have a clear understanding of that. So keep that in mind when you're building your contractor team. So, like I said, typically what I would do is have you have a homework assignment regarding you starting to interview contractors and having a conversation with contractors. What I want you to do, we'll get to that. What I want you to do, let me pull this back up. What I want you to do is this is what I typically have. Like I said, I typically have you go in and discuss your why and what you're really looking to get out of this. I still want you to do that. Let me understand what you're trying to get out of this particular course, why you want to get involved in real estate investing. Is to build a stronger family, build a stronger financial foundation. Let's see exactly what you're trying to do. Go ahead and you can do that, and I'll have that information emailed out to you so that you understand what the homework assignment is. If you did register, then that means that you did receive instructions and a link on how to join the Facebook group. If you did submit a request, our team should be going through and having those approved. They want to make sure that you're getting information. I'll also do updates through there as well so that you guys have that. So that should be key. But one of the big things that I do want you to do that's bigger than anything is, like I said, I want you guys to take the tools that are going to be emailed to you and go ahead and utilize the code so that you can watch the additional videos. Now, each week for this course, like I said, this is a four-part series. With this being a four-part series, each Tuesday evening, we're going to come together. So this week and 3 more weeks, we're going to come together and we're going to have new information to go over. But I do need you between that time to do your homework. Got to do your homework. You got to get involved. If you're going to take, like I said, a lot of people make these goals. Like we said, what is highly successful people? One of the things that they do is they take action. So we got to move with the purpose. If you're going to get involved with this, then you got to take action. Do the homework because the homework is actually going to start getting you moving towards you having a better understanding why you want to invest in real estate and what's going to be important to you. Because like I said, when you're investing, there's ups and downs. There's going to be times where things don't go exactly as planned, but you need to understand that you're looking at the bigger picture as in why you want to continue to move forward. So with that being said, homework assignment, you'll get this, have it emailed out to you, joining the group, explaining your why. You can share it with the group. You don't necessarily have to, a lot of people don't like to go live and do that, but feel free to pre-record a video. And if you don't share it with the group, at least do one for yourself. So, because I want you to refer back to it at a later date. So go ahead and at least record it for yourself. And then, tell yourself what's unique about you and get involved on that free course. Like I said, it's not just a course, but it's a tool. It's going to give you more detail. Like I said, we're going at the 30-foot perspective, 30,000-foot perspective. And with the additional tool that you guys have, it's going to niche in a bit more for you, giving you more details and a few more examples as in why it's important to follow certain steps and establish certain concepts. It's all about establishing your foundation. So starting off with a solid, strong foundation gives you a better opportunity not to only grow, but also to scale in your real estate investing business. All right. So that's that information there. And then another module that we'll go through is understanding the real estate market. This is very pristine right now. I had a situation where, like I said, I mentioned a little bit earlier, where I had another mentee or someone in the real estate community that I'm with, and they did something or they made an investment and they didn't quite understand the real estate market. So I take this topic to be very um, important for people to have a better understanding of what they're getting themselves involved in. So as you guys are looking at this and you're going through this information, I appreciate you guys, paying attention, but make sure that you guys, if you're newer to this, I always suggest maybe working with a group, a mentor. This individual, they thought they had it all together, but there was a few steps that they did not have a better perspective of. And we'll kind of briefly go over it, but I just want to make sure that you guys have a better understanding of what we're talking about when we say the market. So let me get this information together here for you. We're going to go ahead and discuss it. This is one of those items that when we had our little, as we had our little situation with, I don't know what was going on earlier, that the volume wasn't working, the sound wasn't working. But one of the things I want to make sure I do go over with you guys is this information here. So give me a moment. Let's see here. Okay. So understanding the real estate market. So with this particular module, you guys should be pumped up about the world of real estate investing. It's time for you guys to really delve into the nitty gritty as we're understanding the real estate market, you got to picture this as like you're in a vast ocean. Sometimes it's calm, sometimes it's a little choppy, and occasionally there may be some sharks out there. So, but don't worry, because as we go through this process, um, I want to make sure that you guys are in good hands. So grab your life jacket. As I tell people, grab your life jacket and let's dive into this. So, some of the basics for the real estate market. First things first, what exactly is the real estate market? So, simply put, the real estate market is where properties are bought, sold, and also rented. Um, think of it as a giant marketplace where instead of apples and oranges, you have houses and condos. Just like any other market, it's influenced by supply and demand. When more people want to buy homes, which is typically your demand, then there are homes available, which is your supply. Prices go up. So I think we did experience a lot of this. A lot of people see the pandemic as a situation because the supply was low. And a lot of people say, oh, it's because people move from another side of they move from the more expensive markets to the less expensive markets and they shot the prices up. Well, at the same time, there wasn't a lot of properties available. So the supply was very, very low at that time. So when they're bidding, they were willing to bid higher than what a lot of those lower markets were asking because they came from such a high market. So they were willing to pay a little bit more because it was still cheaper than what they were used to. So keep that in mind. When more people want to buy homes, like I said, that is where you have your demand. Um, when there are more homes than buyers, prices go down. Easy, kind of easy to understand. So if you have more supply and your demand is low, then the prices typically go down because now you want to make it more attractive. So that's more of like your buyer's market uh, towards the end there. And initially, we were talking more of a seller's market. So sellers were able to jack the prices up during that time. But key markets and key market indicators and trends. To navigate this ocean, you need to understand the tides. Like remember before I was saying, it has the ups and downs. You have to have an understanding of that or making sure that you're working with individuals that'll be able to help you get you through that. So when you're working with other individuals, I always promote having and being able to develop your super team. So within that same tool, you guys are going to see the super tool. So keep that in mind. You guys will see that. So when you guys see that, just keep that in mind um, and make sure that you guys are able to do that. So that's going to be in the tool that I give you guys. It's going to be a little bit more finite on how to build your super team. I won't spend a lot of time on that this evening. So keep that in mind. Review the tools. Do your homework. All right. So indicators and trends. So one of the top ones is prices. You know, are prices in your area going up or are they going down? Rising prices might mean a hot market, while falling prices could signal a cooling off period. So that does happen. If you do start seeing prices going up, you'll start seeing homes sell. Prices are going up. Then, if you start seeing things cool off, you might see a lot of price reductions. You're like, well, why is the price being reduced? You know, because people aren't buying. So they're trying to attract more buyers to the area. So that's what happens a lot of times. So keep that in mind. So home prices, that is an indicator. It's not the only indicator, but it is an indicator. Days on market. So tells you how long properties, basically tells you how long properties are staying on the market. Low days on market means that homes are selling quickly, and it's a sign where you may have a high demand. And opposite, complete opposite, a high days on market, which is also DOM. So if you ever see any initials like that out there, DOM, that means the complete opposite. So if it's a high DOM, days on market, then it may mean that the demand isn't as high. You know, and there may be different reasons of that. For that, it may be because more specific with the market, maybe because the pricing is too high, but those are some of the things, or your interest rates are too high. So a lot of times it means that buyers are just not buying right now. But what is making it more attractive for buyers to buy? A lot of times the price may have some control with that, has a big percentage of control of that. So if you're reducing the price, then you may attract more buyers. But at the same time, as a seller, you may be like, hey, I've invested a lot into this home and I need more out of this. You may not sell at that time. So keep that in mind. Inventory levels. How many homes are available for sale? High inventory can lead to lower prices, too many fish in the sea, basically. Just kind of keep that in line. Um, will low inventory can drive prices up, and that's what we experienced during the pandemic. If you guys are like, "Oh, real estate was off the hook during the pandemic," well, depending upon the niche in real estate, especially for a lot of resale, you found prices to go up, and that was during the inventory was low. So sellers were getting a lot more for their homes. And I know for a fact that there were people selling homes that needed tons of repairs, but they were able to sell them because the demand was so high and that was the only thing that was available. If somebody wanted to move in that area, they had to be willing to pay that price and then also be able to put in the work that needed to be done to get that house to basically a home. Interest rates. We can talk all day long about interest rates. Interest rates is it's been a big situation, especially dealing with the Feds. When that Fed rates were continuously going up, and they were like slightly coming down, or they were just hesitant to come down. That's still going to be an issue. As you're looking at interest rates, as the interest rates are lower, so many people were spoiled with interest rates at 3% or less, and now we're at 6.5 or more for the most part. At the time of this part of the course is being done. So you have to keep in mind, a lot of people were spoiled. A lot of people were able to buy homes at one point because they weren't able to afford certain price points. But now that they're in a price point that they can actually afford, things have changed, especially when rental prices were on the high, and it was just like, well, why would I rent a home when I can buy a home and live in a home that I own for less, much less than actually renting a place? So that happened because the interest rates were so low. So keep that in mind. Interest rates it is a indicator. It is a something that we do keep an eye on, especially in today's market. Uh, Economic indicators, things like employment rates, income growth, overall economic health can also impact the market. If people are feeling secure in their jobs, they're more likely to buy homes. They're doing a lot more spending. I know in a market that I'm in, Tampa Bay area, a lot of people are paying attention to the new tech jobs, tech opportunities that are coming to the area. They're looking at Fortune 500 companies that are moving into the Tampa Bay area, companies that are moving from New York that are coming to the Tampa Bay area, companies that are moving from out west that are coming to the Tampa Bay area. People are paying attention. So some markets are better than other markets. I always tell people you have your national market information, then you have your micro markets that you really need to pay attention to. So these are things that happen uh, when you have your local real estate market versus your national real estate market, because what's happening on the national level is not necessarily what's happening in the Tampa Bay area. And I can definitely tell you that when it comes to, say, commercial, a lot of markets, they were moving away from commercial because it just wasn't making sense. A lot of people were working from home, doing a lot of things from home, and the leasing of properties, commercial properties, the price points were going down. The values were going down because they weren't able to occupy those buildings because people were doing everything remotely. Now, in the Tampa Bay area, that scenario was completely different. It has been a lot of 2025 that it's had a big difference. So, with that being said, with all of those companies moving to the area, they're bringing jobs. So they have people that are moving into the area. Then the people that are in the area, they're looking at them and say, hey, this is a new employment opportunity. So that demand is there. So people are willing to spend. They need those spaces to be able um, to be successful in that role when they're moving into a new market. So commercial was different. So they were able to get commercial property here much cheaper than it was where they were. So when that's being said, it makes sense. They do they run their numbers and they look at their company as they're able to move locations completely. and be able to be in a better financial situation as a business, you really look at that. That is one of their biggest costs. At certain points, some people come down and have actually bought buildings that they're actually now leveraging to move forward with. So keep that in mind. That's national versus local. Being able to analyze market trends. We mentioned a couple of trends that you guys may be mindful of. A lot of people that are rehabbing homes and their goal is to buy and sell, see what's happening in that specific market. What's trending? Are the prices trending upwards? Are the prices trending downwards? That's important because it's going to let you know where you need to invest or what you're going to purchase the property at, because it still could be a deal for you even if the market is trending down a little bit. But you have to know that your expectations by the time that you purchase that property and that you actually finish rehabbing it and placing it on the market, that's going to be months later. That market is going to be different. So if it's trending downwards, then you have to anticipate that after repair value to be less than what the current market is when you first bought that property. Now, is that always a good property to flip it? That's another subject. I go into more detail when you guys utilize the free tool that I gave you guys. Chime into that. There's going to be different videos within that tool that I'm giving you guys. Chime into that. Take a look at that, and you'll get more insight. Like I said, we're doing a 30-foot perspective, 30,000-foot perspective versus the more detailed. That's going to bring you down to that 10,000-foot perspective of everything. So understanding market trends as you guys are going through this, understanding what's going to be able to help you out as you're moving forward, and what to identify as you're building your super team. You guys get more insight. You won't have to do this all on your own. You're going to find that there's different professionals out there that this is what they do. They look at these trends on a daily basis, if not weekly basis. Um, and by them being able to do that, they're able to have a better focus on the market that they're in. So I share this with you guys because it's a scenario that I want you guys to be mindful of. Um, I know tonight we had a nice little situation in the beginning, but things happened, and things happen in the real estate investing world. You just have to move with the punches, or roll with the punches, as I would say. Roll with the punches, make it happen, do what's going to help you out, and kind of go from there. With that being said, guys, I truly appreciate you tuning in. This was the first night. We're going to get things squared away. I'll also send a recap. So if for some reason you missed a chunk of this, a portion of this, we're going to go back, take the time to look at the audio and the video. So typically we send it out right away. But what we're going to have to do is, I know we're going to have to review the video to make sure that we can send you guys the most up-to-date information. So you didn't miss anything on day one. It'll all be there for you. I'll also send you the code. So I wanted to make sure we do a quick recap. I want to make sure you guys have the code, because this is, guys, it's kind of hard to explain, but I've spent, like I said, tens of thousands of dollars on real estate investing. By me spending those funds, a lot of times it has benefited me, and I want it to benefit someone else as well. So here we go. Okay, let me move this. I don't know what world. I apologize, guys. Let me get this back up here for you guys. So there we go. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay, so just to recap up to this point, so that you guys are in the know and know what's going on, so we're not getting too far behind. So, guys, your mindset. Understand what your why is, okay? Truly understand what your why is. Really think about it. Why are you wanting to get into investing? Is it that it's just something that you saw on TV and you want to get in and you just want to try it out? May not be the strongest why, but it may be a stronger why if it's like, hey, I want to try that out, because if I'm successful at doing that, I'll be able to do some extra things in my life with my family, for myself, self-improvement, set myself up better financially. And being able to do that, if it is something that I always encourage people to get a coach, a mentor. Like I said before, I'm not a financial guy or anything along those lines, but I'm sharing my experiences with you and what's made me successful, and things that I've done that I've learned a lot from. I won't say that it made me unsuccessful, but those are some mistakes that I want you guys to avoid. Avoiding these mistakes will help you be successful. I'm sharing this, and this is years of experience. And like I said, I've done over 100 rehabs. Being able to do that, I've done the different projects, whether it's through people are like, well, how do you get to that number? And it's just like, well, I got to that number pretty quickly. With that being said, I got to that number through, like I said, I did have a management company. So with the management company, I was getting different investors that were having properties that needed to be rehabbed, and they weren't from the area. So they needed to have someone come on board and run the projects. And I was project manager. So as being a project manager, I got a lot of properties under my belt, not only for other individuals, but also for myself. I've also been able to have a number of mentees as they're going through their projects. I'm working with them to make sure that they're being successful, finding little um, steps that they may have missed that may have cost them a significant amount of money, but then also going in and saving them from losing a whole lot of money. Some deals may not have gone through or finalized if I didn't get fully involved. The code, like I said, you're going to keep seeing this code. REGD fall 2025. When you guys receive your email, like I said, you're not gonna receive the email right after this, just because we're gonna go through and look at that audio, make sure the audio is good to go for you. But you're gonna receive the code. You're gonna receive another link to the course that's online. You guys are gonna have enter that code, and it's gonna give you full access to that. So keep in mind that this is something for free. With this code, you gotta use the code. 9 Habits of Highly Successful People. We did review that, guys. So that's some good stuff. So keep that in mind. Keep those habits. See which ones you already have. You may already have some of those habits, but see what some of the habits that you may need to pick up. So keep that in mind. Building the contractor team, it's a money saver. That's like I said, tonight we went over the 30,000 foot perspective. Go ahead and dig into the free tool that you'll have, and you'll be able to get more insight on that. Understanding the real estate market. That's something that we just went over. That is so key. That is so key. Understanding what you're getting involved in. You'll find some more information within uh, the the free course that I'm sending out to you guys. You'll find more information about understanding the real estate market, but then there's also some examples. We'll have some examples of situations where people thought they understood, and how they almost got, one situation where they almost found themselves in a situation. But then it's like, just because it's a deal for someone else doesn't necessarily mean that it's a deal for you. Everyone's why is completely different, and their why may be more on a physical perspective. And everyone's situation may be completely different. One of the perspectives that I do go over with you guys is a case study where it's $100,000 of equity in a home. And it works specifically for a couple that I was working with. And because of their situation, it made total sense. But for a person like me, it did not make total sense. It didn't have the same impact as it would for them. And for me, I wouldn't buy the deal, but for them it worked out. And the reason I say that is because their situation was completely different. So um, with that being said, I helped them get through that process, and they had a better understanding of what they would be able to do. um, be sure to tune into that as you're looking over the course, that case study of being there as well, so that you guys understand how these individuals made $100,000 and just like really um, benefited themselves and set themselves up financially very well. They set themselves up very well financially. For me, I wouldn't have had that same outcome, just because my situation is completely different than theirs. So keep that in mind um, as we go through this. But email will come out. You guys will receive the information. You should have it. I say in the next 24 hours. Let's give it 24 hours. By tomorrow evening, you guys will have it, just because I know we got to go through the video. and make sure the audio is good to go. But I'll see you next Tuesday. Be sure to jump in onto the Facebook group. Get involved with that. I'll be placing some information on there, some different insights. The emails, make sure that the emails save the contact. When you receive the email, make sure you save that into your contacts so that future emails won't go to junk mail. So keep that in mind. But I appreciate everyone that had an opportunity to tune in this evening. I appreciate you. Welcome to Real Estate Gold Diggers, the Fall Challenge. We are making things happen, so I appreciate it for everyone that did have the opportunity to tune in. So I'll talk to you later. Take care.